I was about to like, is that your magic wand?
I know, right? No, just a chopstick. Welcome to the Love Siren podcast, your weekly dose of enchantment for the modern romantic. I'm Dahlia, your queer, poly, feminist witch, guiding you into your most magnetic, irresistible siren self. If you're craving ocean deep love, delicious confidence, and results that last, you've just unlocked the right portal. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get into it. Yay! Okay, welcome to the Love Siren podcast. We have a very special guest today, my dear friend Carla Balzano. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so tell everyone all about you. Tell us everything.
Sure. So, hi, everybody. My name is Carla. I'm the owner of Creative Contour by Carla. I am a makeup artist based in Boston, Massachusetts, Dahlia's old hometown for everybody who knows her. I am a makeup artist. I am a speaker and a fellow podcaster. And I am somebody who very strongly believes in calling out the harmful rhetoric spewed by the beauty industry. As a makeup artist of 12 years, I have seen what it does to people, and I have also personally felt what it does to people for myself. And that is why that is kind of part of my big mission. And I also believe that makeup is a choice, should we choose to wear it. And I believe that makeup is also a tool of self-love and joy.
Ugh, we love it. We love self-love. We love joy. That's what this whole podcast, this whole existence is all about.
Oh,
So I'm
yes.
so curious. First of all, I'm actually very curious because we just did a podcast together on your podcast, and so we'll talk more about that in the description. But what is your relationship to your witching side, your intuition? What does that look like for you?
Sure. I don't know if I have a witchy side. I'm going to be upfront and honest. But I do have a lot of spirituality in me, apparently. This is something that I found out through trials and tribulations, I guess you would say. It's really interesting. Everyone always tells me I'm an old soul, and I never really understood that until some of my newer friendships in my adulthood. And they were like, "Yeah, like you really like need to see a psychic," and I was like, okay. And like at that time, I think I was like 30 years old, and I was like I really like was very skeptical of psychics. And she got a lot of my past right, which I was like, oh, interesting. And so after that experience, I kind of started just looking into this more. And I'm going to tell you, I always thought I had very severe crippling anxiety, which a part of me still has a big anxiety, but I always just like, how do I explain this? I was just like felt in my body when like danger was coming. And that's
Yeah.
why I thought it was like severe crippling anxiety. And I was like, no, like that's your intuition talking, telling you when somebody or something is like not right for you. And it was
Mhm.
always very, very prevalent in my body since I was like a child. Like I mean this, like I was a small child and I was like, why am I always so afraid of everything? Like it just didn't make any sense. And so now I'm 34 years old. So the past 4 years, I've been kind of on this interesting path of self-discovery, I guess, and self-growth, and learning that my intuition is very strong, like very strong. And I have a lot of, I call them spiritual powers, but they're considered gifts. And so intuition is very strong for me, and she's kind of funny. She kind of spitfires. Like she'll just like say it. Like she'll be like, like I could be like, what color shirt should I wear today? And she'll be like, wear the denim one. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you so much. Wow, that was direct. She's fun like that. But it's really fascinating just to kind of lean into this side when you didn't have that experience at all and like you don't really understand it. But I'm learning and it's like, I'm like, wow, like this is fun. It's really fun.
It's also so funny to hear you preface that with saying that you're not witchy, and yet you described yourself completely as a witch.
Oh, I didn't know what the proper definition was for a witch.
I mean,
I didn't know you could just
you
call
know,
yourself a witch.
there's a music artist who says it's a woman in total control of herself, and I love that. I love that definition. We replace a woman with any gender of any kind. But yeah, amazing. So I'm so curious because, we spoke a lot about how makeup can be a transmutation spell, which is super fun. And so I'm curious if, as you have been a makeup artist on so many different people, if you've ever watched somebody become a different version of themselves as you did their makeup.
That's a good question. In general, yes. Now when we're speaking from like a spirituality sense, I would say that I think initially I didn't understand, but now I do. So I think for a lot of people, um, at least the people who contact me, I should say, they like very soft glam makeup, and I think they're very intimidated by makeup. Like they're very like afraid of it looking like too caked and like too heavy and too like Insta glam. There is nothing wrong with the Insta glam world, but I just think when people come to me, like they're really afraid of that. And I'm wondering now that we're kind of talking about like people transforming, like I'm wondering if that's kind of deeply rooted in maybe a lower self-esteem, maybe a lack of confidence. But when you put the right makeup look on somebody, like you do see a difference. They do really like light right up. They're like, oh, like I can't tell you how many times I've had people like checking themselves out in the mirror and they try to do it so subtly too. They're kind of just like it's so cute. Like right, exactly. Like if they're holding the mirror, they're kind of just like, like I have my back turned, like I'm cleaning up things, and then I turn, I'm like, oh, look, Dahlia's looking at herself in the mirror. Like, look at you checking yourself out. It's fun, but yeah, people definitely do.
I love that. I love that. Do you think that makeup can shift someone's identity or timeline?
Um, Maybe not necessarily overnight, because I'm not super experienced with timeline shifts myself. But I would say in general, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about this a lot where I think of all of this stuff, all of this like self-development, all of this witchiness, all of this like following your intuition as this muscle that we're doing these reps, right? We're doing all of these things to kind of strengthen that muscle. And I feel like makeup is quite similar. Like the first day that you do makeup, I mean, I remember having visions of myself as a child and like, just like the very classic like clown makeup. The lipstick all the way up to my nose. And then now of course I know my face better. I have better control over how I use these instruments. But it's also really fascinating. Like I've helped a lot of trans women with their first makeup, and like it's such a rite of passage, which I feel so blessed to have been a part of. And I mean, I do think that there is something to be said of like it is a declaration, right? Like it's this declaration that you're making every day.
Mhm.
So speaking of that, what glam advice would you give to somebody who might not want to wear actual makeup or might not be ready to wear actual makeup, but still wants to kind of embody some of these things that makeup can offer?
I would say, first of all, something that I strongly believe in, and I've already mentioned probably in this podcast episode at this point, is that wearing makeup is a choice. Um, and it is something that you can choose every day, is the way I'm going to phrase it. In other words, as a makeup artist, do I wear makeup every day? No, I do not. If you see me outside in the wild, I probably am barefaced. So that's my choice. Now, if you see me going to work, I have makeup on. See, I'm making those choices. So for somebody who is, I'm going to say, makeup curious, the first step is that it is a choice, and you can choose how much makeup you want to wear. You can choose what products you want to wear. You can choose when you want to wear it. This is definitely like a full self-autonomy decision, is what I would say. That's a great place, I think, to start. As far as after that, it kind of just depends on like the individual themselves. Like if you're choosing to wear makeup, like I would say like be comfortable dabbling in products. Like you don't even have to put it on. Like you can go to the makeup store and literally just like play with the testers in the back of your hand, like get a feel for what makeup feels like. because there is probably no two products that feel the same
Mm,
at
I love
all.
I love that idea. And I mean, I'm all about just getting curious and just kind of being like, what does this actually feel like? And so I really love the idea of just going and experimenting.
Mhm.
What do you think is the difference between looking like pretty versus being magnetic?
Looking pretty versus being magnetic. That's a good question. I would say magnetic is something inside you. Like I think it's your energy, honestly. I think it's the energy you carry, even if you don't know you carry it.
Yeah.
I'm laughing about that because I found out recently that I'm somebody who carries that kind of energy, and I didn't even know. But see, we're both laughing about it. See, because it's funny. Everybody watching this back is gonna be like, really? Like, how did you not see that? Anyways, but I think looking pretty is just like anybody can look pretty, I think, realistically. The magnetic energy comes from within, and this is something that you discussed on the episode on my podcast was about grounding yourself before putting your makeup on. And I think having that moment and being intentional with it and kind of sitting in that moment saying, I can just put on makeup to look pretty, or I can say, like, what am I doing for myself with this makeup look?
Yeah, I love that. Do you think that makeup can be a mask instead of a tool? And have you noticed that like with yourself in your own makeup practice of like kind of going more towards masking instead of using it as a tool? And how would you suggest somebody move away from the mask?
Sure. First of all, to answer your question, is makeup a mask versus a tool? I definitely have used makeup as a mask myself. I think quite literally, because the beauty world kind of shames us for having acne. As a very long time acne sufferer, and I still have acne to this day, and I'm not afraid of it. I think that they shame us so badly for having acne, like it's this big crime that using makeup literally as a mask or as a distraction from that to make you kind of like people like not bring it up is definitely something that I, number one, did myself. But number two, I've seen other people use. Like they definitely absolutely use makeup as a mask. We all have insecurities. It's normal humanity. Now, we can focus on that if we want to, I guess. But sometimes we have to take a step out of that and just be like, you know what? Like, I'm slapping all this makeup on to cover something that maybe it's not necessarily always fixable like that, That's, especially with, like skin, with, facial features, like we can't just snap our fingers and change something. I think we can use it as a tool for self-love. Now, that takes a lot of internal work, and that's a different conversation for another day. But I mean, if you're not ready to take that step yet, I think what you can do is you can find the makeup look you like and wear it. And you can use that with your intentions. You can put that as your intention as when I put this makeup look on for myself, I'm doing it because it makes me happy to wear this makeup look. So you're doing it for you instead of for everybody else outside. So you're
Hmm.
centering you.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of making sure that when you're wearing makeup, it is centered around you and what you want instead of being worried about literally anything else outside of the world. That's a great like litmus test, I feel like. Have
Hmm.
you ever felt pressure to make someone look like a version of themselves that wasn't true?
Yes. That's all I can say for that. Yes, I have. And I can tell you I'm going to put myself on blast. I don't mind. I'm not insecure about it. I can tell you that as a professional, and anybody who's watching this who's like, I want to become a makeup artist, at some point in your career, somebody will not like the look you give them, even if it's the look they asked for.
Hmm.
Even if you've tried to tell them, I'm not sure if this is the style that's right for you, it is what it is. It's just part of life. That's what happens when you work in the customer service industry. So yes,
Yeah, totally.
that's okay.
Well, I think that like sometimes we can, especially like I definitely suffer from this when I bring a photo to the hairdresser and I'm kind of like, I want to look like this. And they're like, okay, but you know that you're not actually going to turn into Nicole Kidman, right?
Mhm.
Like, just be clear.
Yep.
Do you have any personal rituals that you do before you start working either on yourself or on somebody else?
Yes, I do. And it's really funny because I didn't used to do this. And actually, one of my customers one time told me this, and I think I've never forgotten it. And then now it's a ritual. And that is that she's very intentional around taking time to use makeup to pour into her own cup. So that's like for a few minutes for her, like when she starts her day. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not doing that, and I'm a makeup artist. And maybe I need to do that. And so I will say, you do feel a difference in yourself when you do that. And so the way I do that is like I was one of those kids who like sits on the floor. Like I still do as an adult. I have a big box of makeup and like I put my makeup on when I'm sitting on the floor. I don't care what time of day it is. I sit on the floor and I do it. I have my mirror and I'm holding it. I'm like putting on my makeup. But I'm like that's very like that's how I'm intentional with it. Like I'm like okay, like I have my spot that I'm sitting in. I have like my makeup's all around me. Like I have everything I need and like it's almost like I surround myself with it in a way. So like when I'm looking, like I see all my makeup like this in front of me that I know I'm going to use. I take my brushes out, everything. And then that's what I do. And I have noticed a difference. I will say this as a business owner, I have noticed a difference in how every single appointment goes ever since I started doing that.
That's so interesting. It's also so funny because my filmmaker brain is going wild because I picture you sitting on the ground with your makeup like arched all around you, and I do the exact same thing with my tarot cards. But I'm also a ground person when I'm doing my makeup. Part of that is that I have full length mirrors in my bedroom, and so it's just a little bit easier for me to just sit on the floor than
Hmm.
it would be to stand up. But there's something that feels so nice and like, you feel so grounded, you feel so supported when you are taking advantage of the earth in that way.
Hmm.
Who do you think you become when you put on makeup versus when you don't have any makeup on?
That's a good question. I have never thought about that. Who do I become when, like literally for me or just like in general?
No, I would say for you, but then we can switch to in general if you want.
Sure. Okay.
I'm probing you. I'm probing your brain.
Okay, wow. Let me think about it. That's a good question. I would say I'm a hottie now. Like, wow. Like that's the only like persona I can think of. Like that's just immediately what comes up to me is like, oh, like wow, I'm a hot girl now. Not to say I'm ugly without makeup. Like I think it's just also like again, I think it's that intentionality behind putting makeup on. Like I know like that's the energy that I'm calling in for myself. So like I think that's where that's coming from. Now, without makeup on, am I haughty still? Of course. But I think it's just a different energy.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Do you think that after we have had this conversation, do you think that you're going to be going into your makeup rituals, makeup, the way that you see it? Do you think it's going to shift how you start doing your practice?
Honestly, yes. Um, in what way, I'm not entirely sure yet. I think individually, I think um I'm gonna like start talking to my makeup now, and
Yeah.
seeing what comes from it because I'm like, oh, like, again, I didn't know like the spiritual practices that I do are considered like witchery. Like I don't know what I thought. I guess I didn't have a viewpoint on it. So I was like, oh, like maybe I should, have a little conversation with my makeup. And that would be really fascinating. Now, when it comes to working with my clients, I'm thinking like energetically wise, like I always show up authentically as myself anyway, but I'm just wondering also like about um like having like more of a grounded energy versus like I usually go and I'm like, oh yeah, like we're gonna do makeup, hey, like but like now I'm kind of like maybe it's more like, hey, we're putting on makeup today. We're gonna look good. Same
Mm.
idea, different energy.
Yeah. Well, and I think that there's also a world where there's both, right? Because like that is you. Like that is
Yeah,
that real like high vibe, high energy is absolutely you. And also the grounded energy does help make people feel like, a little bit.
comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. But it's both. I mean, I think it's like always both of them are an authentic version of you. And so it's just kind of like the marriage, right? The marriage of
Hmm.
both of them.
For sure.
Ugh, incredible. Carla, where can people find you?
Of course. So you can look me up on social media, Creative Contour by Carla. I have most social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, what other social media? YouTube, YouTube. And if you're interested in having your makeup done or learning a new makeup look, you can visit my website, www.creativecontourbycarla.com.
Yay. And what is like your favorite thing that you offer to people?
My favorite thing that I offer. So obviously, my favorite thing is picking up my brushes and applying makeup. And my second favorite thing is actually going shopping. And I think because I call myself the enforcer. So for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm tiny. And so being the enforcer is hilarious when you're this small. But when I walk into the makeup store, I'm telling you, like, talk about big energy. Um, the people who work at the makeup store definitely know. Like, they're like, "Oh my God, do you need help?" And I'm like, "I'm all set, thanks." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Okay, well just let me know if you need any help." I'm like, "Great, what's your name?" And they're like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Yeah, like, but I'm here to shop with my clients." Do you know what I mean? So, but those are my two favorite options that I offer.
I love that. I love that. Ugh, amazing. Well, Carla, thank you so much for coming on. I so appreciate you. And for anyone listening, if you want to hear the questions that Carla asked me, I will link that in the description below. It is exclusively on YouTube. Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, I think that was good. What do you think?
Yeah, that was really good.